Welcome to the WGL EU Season 5 Match Week 4 into the final game of Match Week 4. We're into Utopia up against Kazna crew now. A hard one to call, I feel this one is.
Kazna crew have been really shaky of late. They've struggled for sure, and Utopia seem to be very strong indeed. So Kazna's definitely going to be tested, of course, just on paper. Kazna crew have a lot more experience. They've been around since day one. They really haven't been out of any of the seasons of the Wargaming League Europe. So it's going to be a very close match, I think.
Yeah, and Utopia have just been constantly getting at the heels of other teams, constantly getting these cheeky little map wins here and there and pushing people kind of to their limits. And with Kazna not having the best performances, as you said, on occasion, a little bit of a shocking result here and there. This could be an upset again. I don't know. There's a good couple of you at home are seeing the possibility there as well, but Kazna do have the fans. So, and to tell you more about that, obviously Melly can take us through. And Melly, these guys have a bit of a fan base out there.
Exactly.
What's the votes looking like right now?
Wait a second. It was 82%. Now it's 79%, which is still pretty high. So.
Yeah.
And yes, people, you still have time to vote. The vote will be up until the second map, like right before the second map. So you have the first map, you have the little break in between, and then the pre-match talk from Lauren and Ollie. So head over to Facebook and hand in your votes if you haven't already, and predict the exact scoreline of the final result of this match. Remember, there has to be a 5 somewhere. Some people complain about not getting that nobody tells them actually how the score could look like. So it's a best of
9.
Thank you, and that means one
five,
figure is
5 wins. You need to get 5 wins in the bag.
Not even I told you. Ollie told you as well. So stop complaining, and. If you don't have Facebook, don't be sad. Head over to Twitter, follow us on @WGLEU, and hand in your predictions by using the hashtag WGLEU. And of course, join the conversation. Just look for the hashtag yourself and see what other tankers are thinking. And maybe you'll find new friends, new companions to play with. And yes, that's what social media does.
Yeah, get involved. Simple as that. I love reading it. I like seeing the nice little memes people come up with, or memes, just to annoy anyone out there who tries to pronounce it correctly.
I used to say memes.
Memes.
Yeah,
that's
at
a different
university
one.
I said memes, and I did computer science at university, so everyone around me knew what memes were. And I was like, hey,
just to annoy
memes,
them.
It's memes really funny, and like everyone just like.
Just the instant hatred of what?
Like 10 people turn around and look at me just like through their bifocal glasses like
it's memes.
It's memes. I was like,
can't say that. It's great. It's fantastic. So yes, do get involved. We won't mock you at all. But yes, let's go back to the game because it will be Kazna against Utopia. Now, you may wonder why we're hyping up Utopia as much as we are. Let's bear in mind what they've done to this point. They've picked up some very good scorelines against very good teams, and they are still one of the newer teams to this league. So they're proving a lot of people wrong. Let's have a little look at that lineup as well while we talk us through this. Thinking back into the last play day, yes, they faced off against Virtus Pro. They lost that, but they did pick up 2 games. So not exactly a bad showing. Beating TCM, beating DTQ, getting a close game at WSD. They've had some really good performances. And is there any player that you feel may stand out allowing them to do that, or is it a collective?
Well, you've got to look at McMoney. You've got to look at Bishu. You've got to look at Poto Mako. Those 3 players have been instrumental in all the teams they've played in before. Denali Sports, a couple of other Polish teams, which escape my mind right now with pretty complicated names, but it started with a G. It was in season 3, a very good Polish team, and they did quite well. I mean, even if these guys haven't played in the Wargaming League Europe, they've played in World of Tanks esports in general, through and through. Gervaz, everyone knows him, old school player. And he's performed very well in loads of other teams. For instance, one SBB. Mucka has also been around the scene for a while. Mitch 58. It's a well-rounded team of experienced players. That's why they're winning. Oh,
for sure. And bearing in mind, McMoney is in the top 5 right now of every single player within this league. He is really performing very nicely. Actually beating up players like Elian and Eurofish just above him on kills alone. So he is one of those heavy-hitting players that will always do damage, always pick up the kills. Certainly someone to keep your eyes on. But then again, there's always at the top of the league Elian, who does play for Kazna, the opposition. So it's kind of like, the master and the student kind of facing off here. Elian is playing phenomenally, pretty much. Yeah. Elian's been on point this season. Keep your eyes on him as well. So those 2 going head-to-head, certainly a battle to be looked out for. And I for this one personally, because I've really enjoyed what these boys have been bringing in Utopia. I think they're a little bit of fresh air, certainly able to adapt to this kind of game mode quite quickly. They've been able to kind of find their footing very soon in this. And I think maybe mid to late season, they can start picking up wins against bigger teams. However, I think they're at the right point to be challenging. And once again, I kind of put them in the same boat as Momentum, seeing how well they can, get through this, how much they improve. Because I think these guys have potential to go forward and do well. Certainly some very good players there to do so. Your predicted scoreline overall?
Well, there's two options again. Kazna Crew could either take in the last match day as a warning when they lost 5-1 to GG Well Played, got absolutely trounced, and they could be improving from here out into the season, or they could just be going the exact opposite and going all the way down, slipping to the bottom of the league in a matter of a couple of match days.
Yes.
Or they could just be doing very well as the first option. I think the first option is probably more likely. Kazna Crew don't give up, and I think they're going to be playing well into this game. Utopia, they have 2 wins though. Kazna only have 1 win in this whole season of late, and that was to WST Gaming. So of course, gonna have to wait and see. But Kazna will be starting north on the defensive.
Oh, Hyber, this is dangerous. Not sure if I like this position in that kind of D3 area. A little bit cautious. He should be. As we do see Money Bishu all rolling past, he's going to get a bit of an eyeful and hasn't been spotted out just yet, but I feel it's a matter of time. This is dangerous here.
It's dangerous and it's new, but Hyber has found out Mucka. Hyber is not spotted yet, incredibly. Just gets spotted, has to run away from that one, but Kazna Crew have made it very, very blatant that they don't want Utopia to be playing that normal position up north. I mean, you got to remember, Utopia did a great job against Virtus Pro on this map. They even won the first round on steps. It was fantastic stuff from them. It was only really on Cliff they actually lost it to, and it's hardly a surprise that this one is going to be Utopia's picks. They did actually pick up steps, and that's really why they want to do it, because they are a great team on this map. T54 Lightweight in Vetso's hand. He loves this tank on this map, if he's attacking or if he's defending, and so far it's worked out very well for him. Here comes the push though.
This feels a little like Prokhorovka here, making your way over those train tracks and seeing how much damage you take. And Potomako waits, baiting out the shots, going to get some fire down, and finally the return comes in, and Cobra completely obliterated off the map. He is down and out. Now, I believe he was only playing artillery, so not a huge loss, but Ruster will be a big loss. Let's see how this one goes down, and look at that Mucker come straight in, taking him down out of this one. And now, where's the reply from Kazna? Can they get the damage back? Vetso still alive, has reload to wait out on. The covering fire comes in. Papa does go down, further fire comes through, and it's a 2 for 2, 3 for 2, 4 for 2. Kazna holding just a player advantage at the moment.
Yeah, but Kazna Crew can just come swarming off that tracks and actually take down Utopia whenever they want. McMoney, though, is in that great position. Hyber is almost a one-shot. German Break trying to get into this battle. Great to see him back in the season. He hasn't been really playing that much. It's more been LD Nexus in his place. McMoney versus Elian, who see you win. Typically the T32 should win because that 250 penetration from the RU251 finds it hard to deal with the T32. He has 2 versus 1 now, and McMoney will probably fall. He is going for Palauda though.
Let's see what he can get on the way out at least. He does pick up the kill, as you said, does find the target there, but now a sitting duck, and Elian comes in and does what he does best, taking down the opponent now. Potomako set on fire, puts it out, takes out the opponent, but 2v1, this is near impossible.
It's impossible for Potomako to win this unless he Amarax, Elian, and Hyber. But, Vision did a good job 2 versus 1 in the previous matchup, so
it can happen.
Anything's possible in this game, as everyone knows. I've seen situations when, for instance, in random battles, we've been severely down, but Hyber does finish off the game with a fantastic shot with the AMX-30 90 at range to make the score 1-0.
Kazna, nice start for them. They probably really wanted that. It was an interesting play, though, from start to finish there. Quite hectic, but I did like the way Kazna took the game into their own hands. Even though they are on the defending side, they played quite the aggressive style to almost put the opponents off their game plan. There was a constant, they never got comfortable, these guys, it seemed, and they were always being pressured. Now, do you think that was the actual intent from Kazna here? Yeah,
they definitely looked at what Utopia did against Virtus Pro on this map, and they thought, okay, how do we counter that? I mean, we can see it throughout this whole match day. As teams get more and more refined as the attacker, they get better and better at, for instance, steps where you can win as the attacker quite convincingly. And that whole cap play up north is very, very hard to take down. And that's what Kazna Crew want to basically mitigate as soon as possible. But I still don't understand quite why Utopia pushed over the train tracks. It was like 3 versus 4 or 4 versus 4. We can actually have a look back at it. It was Ruster it was 4 versus 4, but it was actually 3 versus 4 because the Cobra owns an artillery. He misses that first shell and he goes down immediately. So it's 5 versus 3, but 5 versus 4. But Kazna crew are just in better positions, and that's why they can do the initial damage and get that initial HP advantage, which really does help when Elian finally makes his way over the tracks in the T-32.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The whole time, Hyber and Elian were moving in from the southern side, so it was not necessarily an inevitable move, but it's certainly going to be very hard to pull off against Kazna, who can handle themselves very well in these situations. From start to finish, they always seem to have that action plan, whether the initial tactic goes right or wrong. However they plan it through, they always seem to have that little bit of an extra layer to depend on. And Hyber, at the start as well, had a unique position. What do we make of that? Is that something we might see more often, or is it just a one-off kind of play?
It was a very good play because he could catch the cross and he could see what Utopia wanted to do. But I think, in general, if I was Utopia, if you're going to push like that, you need to commit to those pushes. Correct. As soon as you get caught by Hyber on the side, you need to just be pushing in and going for that close quarter engagements, because Kazna would get into the fight at some point when they get that T-32 across the tracks. So just a little bit of misplay by Utopia, a little bit of shyness towards getting into down and dirty into Kazna. But still, I think they played well. The focus fire definitely showed potential. And, sometimes you have those rounds on the attackers. I think they'll do a better job second time around. And it was also good to see that Kazna crew are not afraid this match day to go forwards and to try new things. Then again, they were very aggressive last time, and it kind of confused me a little. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm just saying I'm worried that they may overextend at one point. But then aggressive on cliff is a different thing. When you're just YOLOing across the middle like they did against... Yeah, that is very true. That is very true. Something must have been wrong there. I don't think we ever really found out what happened that day. I'm not sure what happened that day. But there was something... Everyone has a bad day, though. Yeah, I think it was just pretty much that. Kazna having a bad day, and no discredit to their opponent. Kazna normally play better than they did. But right now, it looks like they're kind of back in their usual form. What are we making of this beginning, though? Potomaco is actually playing the same position as New Multi-Show did for an Evil Panda squad when we saw them play this map in the first match. And see what you can do with that one. Also, we saw it in the previous match. It's quite a normal position right in the middle of the map to see what's going on. Potomac having to get out of there, though, because he is spotted. And looks like the same start from Kazna crew, basically protecting that northern cap. Papa does get caught out in the 59-60. Not a massive deal, but he has found where Kazna crew is hiding. And what will Utopia do to counter this? They're going to push south. That's the logical thing to do, to be fair. They got Mucker in the T-59, T-54 lightweight, so it'll be better hold down. He can be a little bit more protective there. Plowder is not going aggressive. In fact, he's actually going away from where Utopia is heading from. So this could be dangerous stuff. If Utopia gets into cap number 2, it could be over very quickly. Well, let's find out how they take this, because Elian's already on his way down. He's going to have reload available. Ruster and Co are backing as well. They're going to be down towards this sort of engagement. Elian will be there first. Shellshocked does get spotted. No, he doesn't. No, Shellshocked doesn't get spotted. They have caught a glimpse of others, so I'm sure Elian will become aware very shortly. The cap does start, but Elian in these positions, I can't help but feel, always has an advantage, but right now he's being swarmed upon. His teammates must help him out in this situation. He's got tanks left, right and center. Those 1390s picking away at him. He goes down, only hitting one shot. That's a bit of a blow there for Kazna crew, who are now down, one of their main players. Yeah, but it's not a big deal. Kazna crew are doing a good job of holding these guys off. You can see that Utopia really lost a lot of HP on pretty much all their tanks. Palauda from the side doing a great job in that 251. Finally, good to see him playing a tier 8 tank. Shellshock Potomaco really close to being one shot. Mucker's got to run away from this situation as well. He might get caught from behind. Yeah, and I like that play from Paluda, kind of reading the situation well, getting into that full-back position to be able to stop this cab very well and just add pressure towards Utopia, and it's worked. So him reading the situation early, expecting Utopia to come around the south side, but Papa's split off towards the west. Is he trying to flank around, or I don't know. I'm not sure why he's out there on his own, because the rest of his teammates are about to be pushed in towards by the 1390s, by the rest of Kazna crew. Hyber comes around first, Ruster there. That is a duo of death if I've ever seen one. And Mucker gets obliterated in a matter of seconds. And now Vetso looking for a way back through as well. He gets one on the move. And now nicely done, leaving pretty much Potomaco and Bishu to try and keep pieces together up here. It's going to be a really hard task for them to stay alive. Bishu gets tracked, taken down, leaving only Potomaco left to stay alive on his own. Papa in that 59-16 won't be able to do much.
Yeah, and this has gone from bad to worse for Utopia, looking like they're going to drop 2 sides, and Cobra Leone comes flying in as Papa dancing around, but there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and one more shell will put him to bed, and it seems like a matter of time before Cobra Leone takes his time, misses the shot. Cobra Leone, that is sloppy play. Should be able to hit these comfortably. There's Papa making it slightly hard work, but in the end, Kazna take the final shot, deliver the final shell, and pick up battle number 2. So nicely done by them. And let's talk about the adaptation of the tactics then, because it kind of went from the starting play that we saw in the first game. They didn't do that this time. They played it very differently. How did Utopia come into this, and what do you think their initial goal was then?
Well, the initial goal was to take cap number 2 because they knew Kazna crew were doing the same thing from the north. The problem is Palauda, the timing from Kazna crew was absolutely impeccable. Palauda wasn't in a position to spot out that push from the south, but he was in a position to actually deal with it because he was behind that rock. I mean, Arclit said it perfectly in a previous match day. If there is a tank, any kind of tank, doesn't matter if it's tier 6, tier 7 or tier 8, it happened to be tier 8 at 251, is behind that rock in that eastern position, it's just impossible to go for cap number 2 because it can peek, it can shoot, it can peek, it can shoot. But they didn't see it. They didn't see it in time. They went around and they got absolutely annihilated. Yes, they took down Ilium, but they lost pretty much all their tanks and all their HP doing it. And I think the only way they would be able to win that map is just by going for a better execution in the north, going through the middle, and not going for that southern push, because that would have just, well, you can see how it worked out. Just didn't work at all.
Now, I've got to say it, sadly for me, this is not the best display of Utopia, who I've been kind of, putting on a pedestal right now, but I think this is the power of Kazna, that they're a team that were forged together for the sheer sole purpose of winning. Elian left his previous team with, pretty much friends he's had for, quite some time to join Kazna because they, wanted to win. They wanted to do well. They've added players who have the same mentality. So when they start getting everything in the right place, they're a damn hard team to ever doubt. Now, I worry that this is Kazna on the uprise. They've done well now on the defensive side. I want to see how they do on attack. Can we read anything into the play just yet as to how they might kind of come through on this?
They look like they're a team that's put together. They've also got the momentum now. They got a couple of wins. I mean, it's interesting that you talk about Kazna crew in general. I wouldn't say they're necessarily a team that is brought together to win as much as, for instance, Virtus Pro. I think obviously every team wants to win, but they're not that serious. And I think that's why it tracks to some degree players like Ruster and Elian. They want a team that wins, but they also want a team that's relaxing. I mean, the Kazna crew community is, of course, very famous in World of Tanks, perhaps as, well, close to being as famous, for instance, the Red community was back in the day just for the European server. And they're not only a team that wins a lot as a clan, but they don't take it too seriously and they like to have fun with it. And it certainly works for them. They're a very close-knit group of players. And I think it will get better and better for them. I'm surprised, of course, that they haven't picked up a sponsor. A lot of other teams have, and considering their background and considering their history and the wins they have, I mean, they don't have like a first place, but they have enough offline events to go to sponsors, pretty much anyone they want, and just say, look, we've got all the experience, we've got all these results, what can you do for us? But they haven't. They stuck to their guns and they want to stay the kind of chilled route of the things. It
is surprising because obviously, the monetary support and such that you do get through having sponsorship, I don't know, whatever they feel more comfortable with, it works with them. So going forward, I don't know what to expect. I think this would be the first time we'll see Kazna maybe having to make the moves. Although you could argue they did make some plays as a defensive team. They were always quite active in what they were doing. However, on the attacking side, you have to be purely offensive. You do have to play that progressive game. So tank line-wise, I think we saw artillery in one of the 2 battles, but then it was dropped in the second.
Cobra Leone pick it up on the first map.
He didn't play in the second, though, did he?
No.
Do you think we might see it on the attacking side, or is that more of a defensive style tank?
I think it was Kazna crew tried it on the attacking side before against GG Well Played, I believe, with the GV Panther.
Right.
But it didn't work out for them, and they're not using it this time around.
Okay.
But Papa is a very good proficient artillery player, but for Utopia, and he's going to be picking up the M44. Lineups, it's going to be, again, with those 6 tier 8 tanks to 1 tier 6 from Kazna crew, like they did defending. But the same is going to come out actually from Utopia with the 6 tier 8s and the 1 tier 6, the M44 from Papo, of course. So similar lineups from both teams. I'll obviously be looking forward to see if Papo can connect those shells like he has done in previous matches. And if he does, he might just carry his team.
Oh, let's find out. We've seen one hard carry today. Maybe we'll see 2. Sadly, the last hard carry didn't win them the game, but it got them in there at least. So we'll have to wait and see what he can bring there. As you said, in the M44, you can see him on the screens, but we'll see how he kind of performs in this. There will be Utopia on the defense, and now Kazna on the attack. And this is something a little different, actually. We haven't seen this beginning before, from Kazna at least. T-37 coming into action, the 1390s down to the south, and a small presence up towards the north. What do we make of this?
Looks like they're kind of doing an adaptation of what WGL did, basically taking the southern side first, see if they can catch any early aggressive spots from Utopia, and if they can, great stuff. They've done some initial damage and they can go full, but I don't think we'll see these 2 AMX 1390s push in towards that eastern side anytime soon. They'll probably wait, and you'll probably see Elian come across the middle area first. Hyber, Vecco and Rusta are towards the left side. The T-37 Cobrion is kind of near the middle of the map, and just a split up move from Kazna crew. I actually quite like it. Of course, they're going to be thinking, well, if Utopia are really that audacious to try our A to 5 area push, then we know what to do. We know how to counter it. I mean, you can't really play someone else's tactic. You're never going to be quite as good as the team that made it in the first place. So interesting start. I like to see the T-69 as map played by Bishu. I mean, the T-69 is a brave tank to play because of the penetration nerf that happened ages ago, and also just the accuracy is not too good on it either.
Yeah, I love the T-69. I still find it one of the most fun tanks to look back on and see it back before that slight nerf that came into play. And I used to love its kind of versatility here, but at the moment, not going to find too much action over by the north side, as no tanks for Kazna actually went over that side. So Utopia just taking their time, it seems, and the initial damage did come in towards Bishu, but that's about it. Not too much else, really. And a fairly comfortable start for both sides, I think. I'm
actually pretty surprised that Kazna crew actually picked the T-37. I mean, T-37, it does more damage than the 5916 for sure. It's a little bit more robust, 590 to 680 HP. A little bit more accurate, a little bit easier to play. But the thing is, if Kazna crew do want to go for that cap, the T-37's a big tank and it's easy to spot and it's easy to hit. Now, if they had the 5916 like every other team does as the attacker, they could just put it in the cap and they can get that underway. But they're still going to be doing the same tactic from Cobrion, but I just don't think it's the end game. German break gets spotted. Ooh, does he get spotted? I think he was spotted when he got shot, and a little bit of damage does go onto him. Perhaps getting lucky that Papo didn't actually hit that first, didn't hit that as a direct shell, as a direct hit. But I think at the moment Utopia's doing a lot better job as the defender than they did as the attacker.
Yeah, I tend to agree. They're playing their game out as they kind of feel it. We look there in the T-32. And T-37 in the cap circle. What do we make of this rather than the tanks we previously saw in the last matchup?
As I said, it's a bigger tank and it's easier to spot, it's easier to hit. But that's why I think it's not Kazna crew's ultimate game. They want to force something out from Utopia and then capitalize on it. That's why they got the 3 tanks in G7, G8, because they can shoot whichever tank does have to reset this. Take it down, then they have the sort of HP and tank advantage, and they're going to use that to push forwards and actually kill these tanks.
That's quite interesting. So they're trying to predict, basically, or preempt the rotate down the south from these two. Potomako is actually heading towards it. Paluda comes out, shows his presence, gets his turret turn, but on the north side, you can see, surely they're going to peek out and help him out soon. Shellshock is there. Shellshock goes very low. Paluda doesn't get the follow-up shell. I bet he was desperate for that. But Elian and German Break get into the battle now. That will display there's an overmatch in the south, which may force a push from Utopia in the north. But regardless of that, Potomaco's in a 1v3. He goes down. And now McMoney just realizes, oh hell, I'm in trouble. There's not much to do here.
Yeah, McMoney could be in very, very big trouble if he goes 1 versus 1 against Rusta, who so far is actually going to come around from the side. He's actually going the middle road, and at the moment, Kazna crew with those 3 tanks that took down are just closing in. They have to deal with the T-32 still, but they got 2 minutes and 30 seconds to actually win this one, which is an eon of time. They just have to execute properly.
I want to keep our eyes on these southern tanks as well. The guys moving in from the south, because there is a little bit of an exchange up in the north of money. He's getting closed in on now. And I pointed him out as one of the players to watch in these situations against 3. It's very hard to see him coming through here. He does get Ruster low, but will be taken down without an answer. And now we see the bigger problem. Wilk, Bishu, Muka, and Papa. You know, they still have artillery in their lineup. It's not going to do any damage at this sort of point.
Yeah, but look at this. This is a T-69 in its prime, but actually Bishu misses that one shell, which probably will mean that German Break can actually win this engagement.
Oh,
if German
Bishu.
Break connects its last shell, finally does. I think that was actually from the Elian from behind. But good play from Kazna crew. They got still two or three tanks to find.
Yeah, but Papa shot his load and now does have a lot of time to wait for that to come back up. Will goes down. It's just on Papa. He's got nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and he will fall. Kazna not losing a single tank on their attack. That is extraordinarily impressive.
Very, very nice stuff altogether from Kazna crew, yeah.
I don't think we can say much about it. They predicted the rotate. They put that tank in there. You said you felt it was like a baited play. It wasn't their end game putting. I think it was Cobra Leone who was playing that, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. In the cap circle, gets cap started. Now, as you said, it's not the tank you primarily want to fully cap. So that was pretty much a bait play for them. The 2 tanks, ideally the 1390s, to come rotating around the south, and there they had the 3 tanks waiting.
Yeah.
Nicely done though from Kazna. Just very well thought out.
As soon as Poto, Mako, and Shellshock were in that position, I was like, this is game over. 3 versus 2, and Kazna crew had the higher ground, and I don't think anyone expected, I don't think anyone from Utopia expected 3 tanks to be there, which they really should have done. Because, as I said before, if there's a cap on the way, the other team basically wants to bait out. They want to make sure that a tank goes into C5 so they can take it down from the south. Yeah. So Utopia should have expected that, but what they expected to be able to do was get the surprise element of surprise onto Kazna crew. They didn't expect 3 tanks there, they expected 2 or maybe a tier 7 instead of a tier 8. But yeah, I mean, it was just a risky play. It was a gamble from Utopia. It didn't work out, and Kazna crew just absolutely fantastic stuff to finish off that game as well. Yeah, really nicely done. But now we've got to take into account the overall picture we're seeing here is that Kazna's up a large amount of rounds. 3-0 basically. Basically, it's exactly what it is. Yeah. That's starting to become a bit of a problem just mentally for opponents. Utopia being fairly new. We've picked up some good maps here and there. We haven't seen them really being down a substantial amount and come back any. I don't know if they're a team capable of doing it. It looks like Kazna has pretty much their number here. They look like they're playing just that 20% better game. What can they do as a new team coming to this? Is it just time to sit back and learn? Just say, okay, well, you know, let's take this as an experience of learning here rather than going, okay, let's try and adapt everything. Maybe try out their tactics, see where the weak points are, try and adjust on the fly a little. Or how can they get the most out of this match as they are 3-0 down pretty much? Well, just like Momentum against WSD, Momentum made those small mistakes, and at the moment, Utopia are making those small mistakes, which an experienced team like Kazna crew it simply isn't making right now. And all they have to do is just make that one decision. Like that decision for Shellchuck and Potomako to go into that position was to simply the game decided. It was a game changer. 2 tier 8 tanks down, and Kazna crew could finish it off, especially considering Papa was in artillery. So like that one decision, you don't make it, or you make a better one, and it can be a completely different match. So you know, just some errors here and there by Utopia, certainly not helping them out. I mean, 3-0 is a really hard scoreline to come back from for sure. But they still have a chance. I think if they do take this defending round, they might be able to pick up another couple of rounds on the next map, which will be Cliff, and Utopia is going to be attacking on that one, which is also a little bit of a struggle, but attacking on Cliff seems to be okay at the moment. Considering that's the one that caused the slight downfall of Kazna before, maybe there's a bit of a sour taste around that map for Kazna, but still, we have one more go to play out on steps. Tank lineup-wise, was there any tank error mistakes, or like a lineup choice you think might have gone better, or was it just the tactics alone? It was just the tactics. I think Papa did a decent job. He couldn't have done really that much more. No, they were not playing the standard way. They were completely targeting their opponents there. Exactly. I don't think the lineup was a big problem. I mean, sometimes the lineup is a problem in these matches. For instance, you know, I thought Cobra in that 59-16 would have been better than a T-37, but it worked out for Kazna as he could do a lot of damage in the end. It looks like we've got this time Cobra playing the GV Panther, so a tier 7, and the Bulldog is going to be picked up by the Palauda. So of course Palauda and Cobra are the 2 tier 7s or the tier 6 players for Kazna in general.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. I'm wondering if they're bringing it back out because they now feel comfortable enough to do so. They have a 3-0 lead, and maybe they want to try artillery out, see how viable it is, and they feel comfortable at this point that, okay, if it goes wrong, we drop 1 round. You know, it's not the end of the world at this point. But obviously they're always going for the win, but, you know, 3-1's a big advantage. You're 1 round away from match point, basically, so or 2. But I don't know. I don't know if I like artillery on this map yet. We haven't seen it being as efficient as, you know, Moravanka. We've seen it on a couple of others where it really found a nice foothold. I haven't seen someone do like game-changing plays just yet. I'm trying to think back. I know Arklit on Himmelsdorf, so Moravanka being constantly players doing very well. I can't find one on Steps yet.
The thing is about Steps is that unlike Moravanka, you can actually get quite close to the enemy and you can make those shots. So with the M44, great artillery for sure, like 10 seconds reload, big firing arc, but it's inaccurate as hell. So if you're playing as a defensive side in that trench, you can only really be in that trench. So you have to shoot targets which are quite far away. Now, Cobra's picking up the GV Panther, a lot more accurate, and it's going to be able to do some real damage. And Wicked is playing the T-32 as he was doing before. Hugo's in a T-32 as well. So the lineup from Kazna Crew is pretty proficient counter against Utopia's current lineup, and only 2 or 3 shells connected by Cobra could spell the end of a T-32, or at least 60-70% of his HP, which would be a big advantage for them. So right now, it looks like Utopia is going to find themselves in a 4-0 scoreline.
I actually really like the way that you're now able to pick up the artillery just to focus down those big hefty tanks, like that T-32. You know, something that would be such a sticking point back in the days now can be countered by someone, because it's always going to be roughly around the same position. You're not going to be able to game change that sort of spot.
Yeah.
I like that sort of play. It's pretty damn ingenious, and I'm glad to see it back out. We saw this. We theorized this in last season before we had this game mode of, well, if these tanks and these players keep playing that same position, eventually someone's going to go, screw it, I'm going to get artillery and just rain it down until you guys have to move. And it's quite nice seeing that straight away coming into this season. So guys, the teams are almost ready. We're back underway. Excuse the long bit of a talk between teams. Just had to sort things out. And here we go. Kazna leading 3-0. Utopia in the north, trying to defend, trying to pick up 1 round. Let's see if they can do it. Kazna in the south, obviously on the attack. Where are we seeing these guys kind of form up?
Well, we've seen Kazna Crew use artillery on this map before. I believe they actually lost that round, but Cobra going for a pretty early stop, which means that basically Kazna Crew wants to do some initial spots and see if they can find anything for their artillery teammate. Standard start, at least from Utopia. They got 2 T-32, so they have to be hulled down. Also 1 more than normal, so it's going to be pretty slow lineup altogether from them. Actually, yeah, Wicked and Hugo are playing those 2 T-32s. I thought they did a quick switcheroonie at the beginning, but they didn't. No initial damage at the beginning, although Bishu has received a shell, I believe, from an M41, so it must be Palauda. I have to see how that one works out. But at the moment, it's going to be about Kazna Crew going forward, spotting, finding those T-32s, and let Cobra do his job.
Yeah. Looking forward to that, seeing Cobra making these shells, and I'm kind of interested in the double T-32. I didn't see there was a double actually. I thought it was just 1, but yeah, certainly warranting that artillery as soon as it comes into play. Papa though, still trying to hold his own, but Cobra will be the one against him, waiting to make those shells, waiting to get these spots. Wilk has been spotted. I'll be curious if that artillery now comes in, as that's what we expected, just a centimetre too far.
Yeah, that's just standard stuff. Artillery is not all that accurate. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss, but still 5 minutes and 24 seconds. Plenty of time for Kazna Crew to land a few more shells. 24 seconds, 25 seconds reload on that GV Panther. See what you can do with it. 22 seconds even. Veko, now in the 251, got himself behind the good position. Another shell coming out. This time it was from Papa in the M44. Didn't connect at all. And Kazna Crew have started the cap, this time with German Brait in the MX-1390.
Yeah, cap has begun. Papa readjusting. German Brait, 1390 in there. Once again, you don't expect a 1390 to be warranted to be in this spot. But then again, you know, who am I to judge? Hyber pinging a shell off Wilk. As we will be seeing 83 seconds. A long old cap time, and you can see the artillery coming into play there. Just keeping the T-32 on its toes pretty much.
Yeah, but Palauda's No, Cobrion is missing those shells right now. He hasn't connected a single one, so it's not going all too well. He's getting caught out by that classic backwards and forwards move from the T-32. It's pretty predictable, but he has to get back into this game a little. Bishu making a few shells in that T-69 on to no one. It's just blind shots towards where Vetso is up in that corner, but he is playing the T-54 lightweight, so it should be okay. Great, well, not great, but decent turret armor on that tank. At the moment, Palauda making sure that he keeps the cross off. At the moment, I think if Utopia do decide to push over and deal with German Brait and Ruster and those AMX 3090s and Hyber who's joining in as well, I think they will be able to, because the only one who's really got their backs is Palauda.
Let's see how this one gets responded to. Couple more shells coming in. Papa makes a shot, doesn't find it. 70 seconds left. And we're going to start seeing, I think it's Mucka, they're heading a little further north. He might be the one to try and just reset this if necessary. As the clock is starting to run down quite some way, once it gets to that 30 seconds mark, you see teams starting getting a little bit more nervous, a little bit more worried. And yet, I'm curious to see how many shells Cobra Leon's actually been able to hit thus far. I'm not too sure how many, but 50 seconds left, Cobra Leon. No, he's done a little bit of splash damage, basically, but not a great deal.
Not a great deal right now, but Cap is still underway for Kazakru. He's tracked Wicked in the middle, might give Vetso some side shots there. Another shell coming out, 40 seconds left on the clock, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Cobra, well, if Ruster just decides to join German Brait in the Cap. Hyber's actually on the cross now. This could be good news for Kazakru. They are timing this one perfectly from the right.
Let's see if Muka can stop this, though. He's going to crest that hill, back away. Gets the spot, I believe, and backs out. He knows where those both are. He stopped it. He's done his job. And he gets away scot-free. But look in the south by the southern cap, by the eastern cap. They're making their split move. This is dangerous, but quite impressive. But Bishu has hit a hell of a lot towards Hyber. Hyber trying to back away, but 3 odd shells connecting through. That's a lot of damage received.
Right now, it's not going great for Kazakru as Utopia is adapting very quickly. Hugo kind of caught out in the middle. Cobra also hit those shells, but it is, well, 4 versus 3.
And I like this faked play, but they have to still stick it. Elian goes down, just under 1k damage. Paluda follows suit, and this has gone very badly wrong. The damage just wasn't there for Kazna, and German Brait just going into it. He'll get 1 down, but still, I don't think he's going to last much longer here, as we will be seeing the final 3 standing, Cobra Leon, Vetso, and Ruster. And I think we know how this one turns out.
Yeah, this is game over for Kazakru right now. Ruster's down to a slither of HP. Cobra Leon and that artillery will be able to connect a beautiful shell onto Wicked. Finally does manage to land one, but it's still game over. They've still got 5 tanks. Utopia still have 5 tanks left. Ruster's going to go down to Hugo and that T-32. Vetso is going to go 1 versus 1 against Bishu, but Bishu will win it.
Vetso somehow still alive. And not for much longer. The track's coming out. Bishu is whiffing some of these shots quite impressively, but now just Cobra Leon left. And I think he knows the job is pretty much over with. But I think this is what we were discussing earlier. Is this a play that you think Kazna was just trying out because of that scoreline?
Kind of. It was clearly a trained tactic.
Yeah.
But I think I said they got good timing at the beginning, but Utopia basically made a good move. They saw those tanks pushing from the right side and they pushed straight onto them. Didn't give them a single second. If they did, I think Kazakru would have been able to win that one because they would have been able to get the tanks from the left. But it was like 5 versus 3 for about 10-15 seconds, which was plenty of time for those 2 or 3 tanks to go down.
Yeah. I think that is, however, the first time Cobra was going for it. He's not going to get it. I think that's the first time we've really seen a split play trying to come into the action as well, where you see them initially heading towards one cap circle and they work it towards the other. But as you said, the overmatch that was sadly kind of in favor to Utopia was just too much for Kazakru. If they had all their tanks there, maybe did a little more damage with the artillery earlier on, it probably would have worked. But on its own, without all those other pieces in place, it was like of a half strategy coming out almost. Yeah,
it could have worked with a little bit of better timing. It was actually quite funny because as soon as Kazakru did push from that side, the AMX 3090 from Utopia went forwards to deal with the cap. Now, if they had their tanks down south, they would have been able to kill that AMX 3090. It would have been a different situation, but Utopia read the situation perfectly. You can see Palauda and Elian go forwards. Hyber went down very low, and you can see the tanks from Utopia immediately reacting and immediately taking Palauda and Elian down.
Yeah, certainly enough for Elian, but Money found the perfect position to get him out of the game there almost straight away, and must be infuriating with teammates around you, no one covering that spot off, and The rest of them just go down one of the other, the domino effect. And I've got to say it, nicely done to Utopia there. Well played, picking that one up in the end. Kazna made the moves, but they found all the replies to them. And now, overall, scoreline 3-1. Is there any chance here?
It's still a chance, 3-1. It's an okay scoreline. You can still come back from that one. We've seen 4-1 come back for Virtus Pro versus TCM Gaming. So
Only
anything's
TCM.
possible in 754. We're going to move you on to a cliff where Utopia is going to be attacking first. So if you discount WST Gaming versus Momentum, the defender's going to win it, at least get one round in the bag, then you only have to win it as one as attack. So I think Kazna will be able to defend effectively, but then looking at their games on Cliff, when they were also defending against GG Well Played, it tells another story.
Certainly does. Could be worrying times. But you guys at home have been voting. And Melly, how are those votes going over there?
Still standing strong behind Kazna Crew, and people from the community on Twitter are really happy about RT being back in game. And as said, the new format's still absolutely loved from everyone that is watching our show, and we're happy that you're happy. And yes, being happy is always good, right? So, as said, the votes are still up. Head over to facebook.com/WGLEU and click the little team vote button right above the timeline or the regarding link in the posting. And then you'll get forwarded to an app where you can vote for your favorite team just to see the trend of the community, which is actually 27% for Kazna Crew still. And yes, predict the scoreline, and then you're good to go. And if you're right, you may you could be lucky and win one of 5 bonus codes. If you don't have Facebook, don't be sad. Head over to Twitter and use the hashtag WGLEU to participate by simply handing in your prediction, like 5-3, for example, and for whom, of course. And there you might win a bonus code as well. And of course, join us in Twitch chat, join the community, find new discussion points, find people to talk to. It's always nice not sitting alone in front of your computer and being able to talk to people. And yes, as said, follow those platforms, be part of our community, be our friends, and we will be back after a break. And yes, that's pretty much all.
and welcome back to the WGL EU. We are into the final game of the Playday, and possibly the final map. We are sat at 3-1 currently in favour to Kazna crew up against Utopia, and I'm of course still have this map beside me. How are we feeling about this one? It looking pretty one-sided, but then again, next map coming up could change things.
Yeah, Kazna crew have been struggling on Cliff for sure. They've lost a few rounds specifically against GG, well played, but they look like a lot better team. They're put together here, and 3-1 scoreline definitely puts them into a good position to be able to win this one out. Yeah,
we've had some other great games today. Obviously, you can see them down below you there. So do check out all the results. Watch all those VODs on YouTube, WGL EU. Simple as that. But yeah, today's games, I think... I think we're seeing Kazna getting back on form here.
Sure.
And Utopia having a bit more of a challenge. They've had close results, but when Kazna mean business, they're so hard to push out of their comfort zone. I don't think this is going to be too pretty. But score-wise, if you're going to predict it, you now know it's 3-1. Where would you leave that kind of ending marker?
So we're going on to Cliff next. As I said, Utopia is going to be attacking. So let's hope Kazna crew can get their defensive side sorted like they did on Steps in the first round. So I think a 5-1 is even potentially possible. Utopia could make a couple of good rounds here. They've been pretty proficient on Cliff in the season so far, but Kazna crew definitely on point to be able to win this one. You've got to remember, Kazna in previous season, they've taken third place is absolutely no problem at all. And at the moment, it is the Kazna crew which has taken a third place that's playing this matchup.
Well, I think the teams are getting themselves ready. What sort of lineups are we going to see here? Because there was such an instrumental tank in the hands of Manza before. Are we seeing that being repeated here now?
Oh, the T49 is becoming a mainstay on Cliff because of close call combat. Elian's playing it for Kazna crew like he did against GG Well Played, and Mucker's playing it for Utopia. So both playmakers, in fact, Mucker's the team captain, the shot caller for Utopia, the Polish team. So let's see how he works with that one, as was Manza, to be fair, for momentum. So we are going to get into battle now. Remember last time, Kazna crew played GG Well Played. When they were defending, they YOLO'd across the middle and got themselves absolutely wiped out. So let's hope they don't do that again.
Yeah, hopefully they learn from their lessons this time around. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm not going to predict anything. We've seen tanks just falling off cliffs on this map. We've seen teams, swag YOLOing straight over the middle of this map. I don't know what to expect. So hopefully the teams can give us a good display regardless. Guys, get those final thoughts through to us on Twitter now using the hashtag WGLEU. Let us know your thoughts on the Playday. Has Kazna impressed you? Have they got back on that pedestal again? Or do they still need to impress you some more? They're not quite proven it just yet. Anyway, I think the teams are ready. I think everyone's in. And let's get this one started up. So, as you said, in the south, in blue, it's Utopia on the attack. In the north, in red, it's Kazna locking it down on defense. T49s will be in the hands of Muka and Elian. Both these players proving they can actually turn up. Muka before played very well. So looking at him to maybe show us something here, but Elian's a tough guy to take down.
Very, very hard player to deal with for sure. He's always the one going forwards and making the shots and hitting the shots. Interesting play initially from Utopia, though, going the southern road. I think they actually want to catch out Kazna crew from the side with a bit of initial burst of aggression. McMoney also being in a good position. First shells are connecting for them as well. Palauda's down low.
Yeah, Paluda taking a massive amount of damage very early on. Those Bulldogs don't exactly have the best sustained amount of HP, but Cobra Leon trying to bail out his buddy, but Hugo's still at the job, and Blue's down to nothing. This is brilliant stuff early on from Hugo. A name that we don't often say in this sort of context. He's so doing the damage. He's even got Cobra Leon very low. This is brilliant stuff coming out from Utopia initially. However, let's see how this one pans through. Kazna are down a huge amount of HP, and I worry that they're going to just kind of leap in again. Look at the positioning from Elian. He's all the way over the other side. This is still a terrifying position to be in. He's just going out on his own.
This is bad stuff for Kazna crew. They're pretty much, or they actually are completely out of the game. Only one tank has fallen. Well, no tanks have fallen for Utopia at all. Elian went down, and now 4 remain for Kazna crew with almost no HP. Hyber falls, quickly followed by Vetzo, leaving Ruster to fall, and German break the final one alive for Kazna.
German Bray, and I congrats Utopia, but what on earth, Kazna crew?
I have no idea what happened there.
I don't understand it, guys. I just don't understand.
They're very interesting tactics on Cliff. I've been told off, by the way.
Is a word.
In case you guys are wondering why I'm being so nice to the teams today, I got told off because apparently I'm too harsh to the teams.
Yeah, we got told for being mean.
Yeah, so I'm trying to be nice. I'm obviously going to be critical, but I think I was a little bit too critical sometimes. So
no, I think
I'm not. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, Kazna crew, you could have done it better.
Do you remember at school when, like, you know, you made a mistake, right? You did something terrible. You're meant to bring like this art project, and you forgot, and you just drew like a bit of crayon on there.
Yeah.
They're like, I really liked your effort, Lauren. You know, you tried
It's like
really hard.
It's when you have as a kid, your parents put that picture on the fridge.
Yeah,
it's a good picture.
Got a gold sticker, dear. Nice, well
Exactly.
done. It's not nice. Your parents hated that picture on the fridge.
Yeah.
And now we have to be your parents, basically telling you, nice try, Kazna. You know what? The effort was
10
there.
10 out of 10 for effort.
Execution, 0 out of 10. However,
Nil point.
Nil point. Welcome to being the UK. But what on earth was that play about again?
The thing is, it was hard to tell because we couldn't see the middle. We would concentrate on those two M41s. I mean, Hugo went 2 versus 1 and won against Cobrion.
Impressive.
And Palauda. And then the initial fights in the middle, I think Kazakri went aggressive, but Utopia could just shoot them from the side. And as soon as they went aggressive, they were just getting a ton of shells heading towards them and landing. And that's where Kazakri found themselves on the back foot. And quite easy round by Utopia to win this one. What I'd expect from Kazna, just a little bit more patience on this map for sure.
Yeah, I maybe they're trying to rush and get this one over and done with. I don't know, but every time it comes to this map, they do this super aggressive style, which I don't understand personally. Maybe there is a tactic to it. Maybe there is method to the madness, but on results alone, that doesn't seem to be the case. You guys let us know your thoughts anyway. Hashtag WGL EU. Are we too mean? Simple as that. Just are we too mean? Please let us know. We're not sure.
No.
UK banter is not applicable to everyone, let's put it that way. But with 1 second left, we will be going back into this, and let's see what we have going on here between these two. As it looks like they are ready, and we are at 3-2. The scoreline's getting a bit closer now.
Yeah, this is going to get back in close. Utopia finally showing that they're a team that can execute strange and wonderful tactics. It looks like a similar start from Kazna crew. Palauda, though, going for the initial spots on Utopia. He wants to find out immediately if Utopia are going for that initial aggression. He has found Wicked, so they have got a good idea of what's going to go on. And Kazna crew, now they have to adapt. This is where they show if they're a team that can win this league.
Well, let's see. They're still going for that aggression. It makes me nervous, but here we go. It's time to go in. Once again, taking a lot of early damage. Vetso taken down to nothing. Hyber is there to support him. Finally. 6 minutes left. A lot of damage received onto Hyber. They're trying to share the damage out, though, and that's perfectly fine. But the crossfire comes in from Bishu and Papa. And Utopia is just holding the standard angles. There's a Bulldog in the background there that's not even in the action yet. And what is this?
Falling like flies. Kazna crew again on the back foot. Utopia pushing around. Rusta, German Bray, Ilian left alone on their own to try and deal with this onslaught from the poles.
And Utopia, they look like about to tie this one up. German Brait's being taken from every single side. He goes down, and I've got to say, Utopia making this look easy. Unless Ilian can pull off something very impressive, which he might be able to do. He's in the right tank to do so. This should be game over here, Neron, and it should be 3-3. However, Palauda trying to sustain some of this damage out. He's got one more shot to make. Turns the turret, finds Bisho, does absolutely nothing. T49 goes down in the background. Leaving just Ruster alive here. Full HP, but he's got to take down 4 players against him.
Yeah, the whole shell of his, all 6 shells in that auto-loading tank will not be able to deal enough damage to take down Utopia. He'll need 2 reloads if he connects. As
everything.
I said, all 6, 1,440 at 240 average damage is the mass behind that one. Bishu going in as he has the most HP, will find Ruster, and he's in a better position.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, Ruster, a great player, but 2v1 with 2 splitting around the backside. I think he knows that this is pretty much a done deal. And once again, Utopia bringing it back 3-3. This game's not over and done with just yet. I still don't get this.
No. They really do lack some proper execution on Cliff. You're falling for the same thing twice, basically, and that's never a good thing. I mean, one adaptation which I really like was the fact that Palauda went down low to check if Utopia were doing the same thing. But then it was all thrown when Cobrion, I'm not sure exactly who it was, Hyber and I think Vetso went for that lower ground aggression to try and deal some initial damage. But Utopia were already there. They were on the other side, and they absolutely nailed them, and they were in better positioning. So it was just one bad call that cost them 3 tanks, and that's what lost it for them.
I mean, the worrying thing is that, like, as much as maybe Kazna aren't taking it super serious right now, or, maybe they just don't have the tactics locked down on this, a good team who sees this, as soon as this comes to a LAN event, if Kazna make it there, this will be picked against them. You know, this will be in there. And whether they have to depend on Kazna to use it as a soft ban, it's going to be instant map pool kind of drawn in, and Kazna need to kind of adapt a lot more than this. I don't know what's going on with them. I don't get it. Like, they're so good on every other map. I mean, they are probably one of the better teams throughout this league on occasion, but it comes to this map and suddenly it's like, okay, we're going to be Spale for a map. Just, go straight in. I don't get what happens. I really don't.
In a situation like that where you get trounced so badly, you need to take a gamble. We've seen teams take gambles when they're pretty close to winning.
Yeah.
But when you're losing so disastrously on a map, you should have just done something. If I was them, I would have just taken like 251s and my M41s and just push that lower road. Just go straight into Utopia and have a brawl on the 1 to 3 line. And just not let Utopia get up there. Just counter them with the tank lineups. Make sure those AMX-39s from Utopia are being engaged upon before they actually can reload, and win it like that. Don't do the same thing twice, because clearly Utopia has they picked the attacker on Cliff. They've clearly got an idea of how to attack on Cliff. They've been proficient this season through and through on this map. And just like that, despite some fantastic play by Kazakru on steps, it's all even again.
Yeah, 3-3, and I'd be furious. The thing is, if I was Kazakru, I'd be more furious about my team letting them get back to 3-3.
Yeah, like this, so easily, no effort at all. After playing so well on steps, you come up with good strategy on a map, and then the next map it's like, boom, it's done, and you simply get outplayed. That's really, really hard to take as a team.
And the problem is that it negates everything you've done to this point. As you said, you could play brilliant on the first map. It doesn't matter. You're getting trounced in a really bad way on the second, which just kind of leaves you with this really bitter, sour taste of how your team's doing. And I want to see more from Kazna. They are a great team, but they don't play like it on this map sometimes. Let's see what they can bring now. We do have 2 more rounds to go on this one, and we are live into it. So 3-3 right now. If someone wants to win it, they have to pick up 2 rounds back-to-back. At the moment, Utopia kicked off in that fashion. And my God, if they get 2 back-to-back here, Kazna would be fuming. So what are we seeing for a start?
Standard start from Kazakru pushing up towards the hill. It's actually pretty similar to what we saw from WSD Gaming as the attackers on Cliff in our first match of today. It looks like, again, 4 tanks from Utopia going south. Kazakru, once again, knowing that they're going to do that and putting a tank in that position. Copeland, very risky stuff from him, actually shooting. Could have been spotted, could have been taken down. Initial damage going towards Utopia once again. German break caught out.
Yeah, 1v2 here. He's already taken 2 shells, trying to get in position. Vetso tries to peek out to provide cover, as does Hyber. But Copeland all on his own as well. This could be dangerous. They could get zoned out very quickly. Fire from the back lines finally comes in. Russ is in the battle. And look at this play. Much better stuff, but Hyber still low. He does go down first, but Wheelk will be replied upon, and Bishu down very low as well. The HP pool is quite similar, but still, I don't know who I'd back in this one.
At the moment, though, Kazakru have better positioning. Potomako has to get into this game with money. Bishu there. Elian's going to go in.
Elian better get the job done as well. He's got reload now for a little while, but the damage is certainly flowing against Utopia. They're getting quite low. They're fairly even here on HP overall. But that's because of the likes of Potter, Mako, and Muka still in this. Muka still trying to fight out, but Rusta denies. And finally, Kazna wake up a touch. And now Potter, Mako, and Papa left in a terrible situation. This must be horrific as well for Utopia, because now they've got their hopes up. They're like, guys, we're back at 3-3. And Kazna remembered how to play well at tanks. And now Elian creeps around and takes down Potter, Mako.
Let's have a look at how much Elian has done this game. What a game from him. 2,050 damage.
3 kills as well.
3 kills.
So basically, right, you take Elian now and replace him with another player. This would be a very different game.
It's same as Manza, though, on WSD Gaming side.
Agree.
Without him, there wouldn't have been no win. So fair enough. I mean, 3 shots, 3 kills. He's got the skills to pay the bills.
Jesus Christ.
Eminem.
Who do you think you are? Apple, Wow? God.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that guy. One loss and you already forget about him. Cruel. Anyway, Papa now left pretty much against the entirety of them. Cap has started out on the east side. Polluta playing it safe, going to cap out the furthest away angle, as Elian might want to make his 4th kill this time. Going to get the reload available. Shell to hand. Cobleon comes in. Ram comes out from Cobleon, and Elian, I think he wants his kill. He's saving that shell, and he misses it, sadly. But I think Cobleon will land it, as Kazna will get themselves onto match point. Cobleon Elian, players like that doing a marvellous job. Elian as well, really standing out in that game. And there's a reason he's at the top of the leaderboard of entire players this season thus far.
Well, season 4 as well. That leaderboard is...
It's pretty much his.
It is. That leaderboard is his. The thing is about the leaderboard, it counts season 4 and season 5. If you want to see season 5, you have to click on the filters, you have to click on the Liga, then Gold Series and season 5. Of course, there's not very much to see at the moment because of a few issues we've had with the portal and replays.
Yep.
That should be fixed hopefully tomorrow. I said that last week, but there was more issues, which we fixed now. So tomorrow and next week, all the stats should be up. For all the games we have replays for, of course. If we don't have the replay, then we can't have the stats. But looking at that game, that was just Kazna Crew having better positions. Just like Utopia had as the defenders, Kazna Crew had better positions to deal with it. Despite German Break taking a lot of damage at the beginning, Wicked went down. Elian takes down Wicked there in the M41. That's already a big blow for Utopia. Bishu goes down low to Hyber, and that allows Elian to go in and finish this all off. Just better. Look, you can see immediately, Utopia in the open, they're below. Kazna Crew are behind cover, above. Simple as that, game over.
Yeah, kind of just battle engagement basics. It's not even just tanks alone. It's in any sort of warfare. The higher ground you generally do get the advantage on. So at the moment we are going to see Kazna taking that forward, and they will be on match point now. But then again, can you bank on Manza always hitting those kills? Can you bank on Elian doing the same? That's the problem. I guess in a way you could bank on Elian a little bit to kind of always do something very good, but getting 3 kills, a massive amount of damage, that's hard to constantly replicate. Now, I'm not sure if they can depend on that again.
Yeah.
Did Kazna show you enough outside of that to warrant them getting the win?
Well, it's part of the reason why you pick a T49. I mean, you could pick a 251 or an AMX 1390. Sure, it's going to be more reliable in the long run, but the T49 is for those situations. You pick it with HE ammo, 60 penetration, 910 damage, just to do those sick rounds. And so far, we've had 2 of those rounds this match day, so not too bad of a ratio for the T49. Obviously, there's a reason why these pro players are picking the tank. I would say, rely on it enough to get those wins. Now, this is a test, though. Second time around defending for Utopia. Will they actually be aggressive once again for the 4th time in a row? Or will they just play the standard defensive side, northern side on Cliff, like all the other teams have?
Well, let's find out. The teams are getting themselves ready, and I think we are into the battle here. So we'll find out if we have a winner on this one, or if we are going to the decider map. Battle number 8 coming up. We're going all the way, it seems, and the defining men are on your screens right here. Kazna Crew, the chance to win it on this map, whereas Utopia needs to take it further. This time they've switched up a bit. It's Paluda in this position. Wasn't it Cobra Leone last time?
Yeah, it was Cobra Leone, but it all depends on the spawns. Obviously, Paluda had better spawns.
So he gets the initial spots out. It's a nice position for this. Gets a little bit of damage and gives a bit of the game away. And once again, it looks like we're going to see the aggressive start from both. Yeah,
they're expecting Elian not to do so much, but first shell does land. Doesn't penetrate even through Mucka, but does enough damage to give Kazna Crew a little bit of an early advantage.
Oh, and they're taking it further now. Utopia taking a beating in the middle. That's much better. Look at Bishu just taking damage from every side. There's nowhere safe right now for him. He's trying to find cover. McMoney is there, but he goes down. And now there's a 1-for-1 trade, but the damage taken from Utopia in comparison to Kazna is massive. Hence why now there's 2 players down for Utopia in comparison to the mere 1. And bear in mind that Elian is still alive in this. Barely taking too much damage at the moment. He's already on the prowl for his next pickup.
Muka's going to get the reload.
He will have reload first, but
it's going to be really close though. I'm not sure actually he has a reload. It's almost exactly even.
Oh, they both got it now. 1v1 Vetso going around the back though, but it's high Kazna Crew all over. They'll focus you towards one, get the teammates in, get the kill, and that's just good play. Obviously, Muka wanted that 1v1 to prove out, but in the end, Utopia picking the wrong fights, and Kazna proving they are the better team. Veko having a great game, Vetso picking up a good amount of kills here, and now Rusta trying to charge down Potomako. In the end, it should be a couple of shells, and job done. And there we have it. This will be over in a split second as Vetso finishes off the deal. Kazna Crew picking up the win just before they went into that final decider map. That was close.
That was pretty close, but you can once again see the difference between the north and the south of this map. The almost exact same engagement happened when Kazna Crew were defending. You know that lower part below the lighthouse? And you could see Kazna Crew won that. Almost exactly the same position, just switched around between the 2. So fantastic job by them. Good focus fire as well. Good to see Elian actually bringing Mucka out the game, not allowing Mucka to do the damage. See, look, McMahony Bishu against Rusta and Hyber. Rust and Hyber were in the exact same position, but where McMoney and Bishu were, and they were losing. Just good stuff. And there's also one tank behind Betso, but you know, it was pretty much 2 versus 2.
Yeah, it was fairly evenly split. You could almost put a mirror down the middle of this and see how it plays out. The terrain maybe favouring one side a touch, but then again, you could kind of point it out to the fact that Elian in that 1v1 with Muka was constantly challenging him, keeping him busy, you know, going for the ram, making sure he couldn't easily peek out and take the shots on towards the centre of that battlefield. And in the end of the day, they supported Elian in the end by carrying on and taking Muka out of the game. So it all kind of worked in the end, and I think we've had a pretty good play day today, all in all.
Yeah, we have. But, you know, I just want to say one more thing about that last match. I think for Utopia, once again, like they have in other matches, they've tried the same thing twice when it hasn't worked. As soon as Palauda and Kobler in their Zone 41s were spotting at lower road, that was the counter from Kazna Crew towards Utopia. It gave Kazna Crew a couple of seconds to get good positioning. Exactly. It's all about the information. And that gave Kazna Crew the win. If Utopia wanted to do that, they should have tried it the first round and said, okay, let's just chill out and let's play the normal defensive style on Cliff and hope we can just win against Kazna Crew, just 1 versus 1 in that situation. So clearly Utopia has a couple of things to learn, but they did look pretty strong. And you know, Kazna have to really work on that map. They have to work on Cliff as the attacker and the defender if they want to do well in this league.
I can't agree more. I think the thing for me and Utopia is Utopia has a lot of potential now to kind of grow a little more. They get a little bit more variation to the way they play, you know, add in a couple more strategies they can depend on. I think they could be a very competent side. I think you go back maybe a season or two ago, they could probably make it top 6, you know what I mean? But this season, there's so much competition for that top 6, it's going to be difficult. So let's have a look at the standings right about now and see exactly where these guys will be sitting. So as you can see, momentum fairly down the bottom there. Utopia are currently sitting within that top 6, but it's so easy to slip under that and above that. And Kazna now making the way pretty much tied even, almost.
Yeah, 3 teams, Virtus.pro, Schoolbus and GG Well Played, all sitting and vying for that second place position. At the moment, Virtus.pro occupying it, but I think they might be moved off that one anytime soon. GG Well Played, of course, have had one more match, so that's why they're sitting on 10 points. But it's been a good match day. I think we have the winners we had expected to, and I think Kazna Crew, for me, was good to see them just being back into the driving seat in their own definition, their own destiny, because last match day they really did seem like they had lost the will to win. Yeah,
they lost a bit of that spirit that made Kazna so unique, but it seems they've kind of worked it back, so nicely done, I think, overall to Kazna, showing that on the first map they were very impressive with the counters, the strategic play, everything was perfect. Second, still a bit shaky, but they got the win in the end. So pretty much a brilliant play day. And you guys at home were voting and getting involved the whole way through. So thank you from us too for that. And obviously, Melly has been pretty much your keeper the entire time, but she does enjoy being around you guys. How was it going over there? Did they get it right in the end?
Absolutely. As said, the vote ended with 72% for Kazna Crew, and the votings looked pretty neat. So I think I can find those 5 winners that deserve the bonus codes for guessing right and predicting the exact score. And as said, thank you very much for getting involved. And Lauren, Ollie, you asked if you're too hard on teams, and Dave said too critical. How else to say that was rubbish? Time for
Thanks,
some
Dave.
serious sarcasm.
I like Dave. Dave looks after us.
Absolutely.
Nice one, Dave.
And we have another tweet. I have no clue how to pronounce your name, so excuse me for doing bad at it, pretty much. Impreso, one of our dearest community members. Impresovi Kotek. Hopefully.
Pick part of his name and just say that part.
Yeah, okay.
That's the easiest part.
Kotek. Cliff for Kazna are like a catnip to a cat. They just got totally crazy heads up, crazy heads on a Utopia and die one by one, from 3-1 to 3-3.
It's kind of insane, isn't it? They literally are like a wild creature in the Ghana map.
Absolutely.
Completely clinical in all the others, knowing exactly what they're doing, drill down strategies, and then Cliff. And it's like, guys, let's just go absolutely stupid here. I don't know what happened. Yeah, it literally, it's only that map as well.
Yeah.
Weird. But yes, the community recognizes as well. So as said, thank you very much for getting involved. Thank you for taking part in everything that I throw towards you. And keep in mind, next week will be not on air on Monday, as usual, but on Tuesday, the 16th of December, with DTQ versus Virtus.pro as the opener, then Team Vuza versus WSD Gaming, and as the headliner, Utopia versus Evil Panda Squad. So make sure to tune in on Tuesday. Don't forget to follow our Twitch channel, our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, our Twitter, our everything, and Lauren and Ollie and whoever else is working on this product. And thank you very much for watching and tuning in, and tell your friends, and see you on Tuesday.